So I guess we'll call the order at 6:10. Looks like everyone's here but Mike. Jen, did you get like sworn in and?
I did, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, okay, cool.
And I'm sorry for rushing out last time. We had a sick horse.
Oh, okay, you're on,
Doesn't happen very often. It's all good now.
okay. Yeah, so I did not bring a printed copy of the minutes from last time, but I looked at them, they look good to me. I don't know if anyone else had any comments.
They look good.
So moved. Okay, I move we accept the minutes as written. Second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, anyone opposed, unanimous? So I know so Tamsin Flanders is from FERCog is gonna join us and we're gonna talk about this document that she wrote, which I thought was quite good.
That was excellent.
Is it for, getting funding or what's it for?
This is. It's the agricultural part of a Whately farm plan. And I think Tamsin has been sort of. Hired to write it on Whately's behalf, so this is just the ag portion. And I think is it February 26th though? Yeah, I don't remember when it's sort of all due to be done and finalized, but. So that's what that is. And she's gonna come in 10 minutes or so. Does anybody have any thoughts about items we should request money for in a budget? And this would be money that would be available in July of 26 through for a year.
Well, this report says that we get $2,500 a year, which we've never had, but
Yeah,
we should put in a number that meets our requirements.
right. And I was thinking, Tori, maybe you can tell us, do you think 1,500, which is what is budgeted for an administrative assistant, do you think that's reasonable?
Yeah, I definitely think that's
Okay.
reasonable.
Okay. And I communicated a little bit with Teresa Carter and Megan Arkin, I think it's her name, from Sunderland, who were here. They came to a meeting or two. And what's the name of the group? It's like School to Garden or.
Something like that.
Oh, yeah, that we were talking with you a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, well, last month or 2 months ago even.
Yeah,
Garden to Classroom or something.
farm to school.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking in my head.
It's like, I know I've seen those emails from my kids.
Yeah. So, and I just had a conversation with her about sort of what's a reasonable amount to budget to help with the garden at the school and other things. And so we came up with 500 for the garden and maybe 600 to support a field trip if something can materialize.
Field trip.
This was like, there was a little brainstorming going on, and one of the things the school would like to accomplish is getting kids to some farms.
Okay.
And so this would be to support, maybe a day where they visited 3 farms in town or something like that. Go up and lay waste to your place first.
That's great. Just let them run.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
Sawyer would love that.
And so anyway, that's all sort of theoretical,
Mhm.
and maybe it'll happen and maybe it won't, but if we kind of like budget a little bit now for it, it's like quite a ways away before.
Now, I would think that based on that account, we should put in for $2,500.
Yeah, I got a couple more items, but I've actually got 3,600 as my number.
Okay,
So, I've got just 200 for printing and office supplies, which we should have had this year, but Amy's just been very accommodating. And it would be good to budget a couple $100 to get stuff into the scoop, which we haven't done in the past. It's $75 a page and you gotta go help fold.
That's bad.
That's not bad.
No, that's not too bad.
So I put in $200 for that. And then, so,
Are you talking about like, shouldn't we have a The scoop comes out what, 4 times a year?
Yeah, I just got mine.
Yeah, so then March is the next time.
So it seems like we should have a. Quarterly little report in there if we have anything to talk about.
I think, yeah, I think that would be very good. If we wanted to do a page, it's $75, but if you just want to contribute it. It's,
Yeah, right.
although I suspect folding help would be appreciated.
I've done that before.
Okay, well, do you want to, I just smelled a volunteer.
I think you smell something out.
No, I mean, if you would like to be the liaison to the scoop. I don't mind folding, but if you wanna provide a quarterly update, you've got 2 months to think about. Think about,
Okay, I have to find out what their deadline is and all.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it seems like for Q4, we tried in September and we had already missed the deadline for.
I kept missing it by like a day.
Yeah, like it's like the first week of the start of the previous quarter. Like, it is very early.
Before I left my house, I just opened the scoop literally, and I think it said March 4th. And I only remember that because it's my mother's birthday, but I think that's the deadline for the next one.
Well, I've got the scoop. I'll
Okay.
take a look at it.
Well,
So,
let's
and
just,
I would get this to Joyce.
I guess that's I think the thing to
It's been
do,
running it forever, it seems.
right. I think the thing to do would be to just communicate with her and just review the deadlines.
Okay,
But let's talk about it next meeting.
yeah.
Cause we will wanna get something in the scoop about the signs. And that doesn't, I mean, we were talking about the cost of a page because we were thinking about getting that shop local pamphlet
Yeah.
into the scoop.
I think
And
that's a
that's
great
where
idea.
the $75 came. So again, that's something we can think about. And then the last item I thought of, Dave, was I was gonna put in for $600 for the right to farm signs. But I have asked the selectmen to consider giving us a few extra dollars to get 5 signs. So I'm thinking and we should know about that on the 17th.
So it'd be a 1,000 plus to 500?
I think I've asked for 6. To do 2 additional signs.
Oh,
So
okay.
if we can do the 5 signs for like $1,600.
Yeah, well, total, I think it was for originally the artwork, the 5 signs and the poles. 8 poles and the carriage poles and everything was a total of the original bill was 1,600, so.
Okay, so we're not talking about the poles.
Right, so we're gonna save like $400 or if not more.
All right. So it sounds like maybe we can get it done, and if they can find a few extra bucks in the highway budget or something like that, and then we're just done.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was thinking about too is, maybe we want more signs in the future, but they can be moved too.
Yeah.
You can leave one in one place for a couple of years,
Too, once you get the artwork done, it's pretty simple to get another one made. I
Mhm.
think, a couple of them, because they, they have the patent, so they can do
Yeah.
it, they're the ones that can do it.
Right, they got the press.
Yeah, so. I don't think it'd be a lot more expensive to get more signs done.
Yeah.
I think it was,
So, and I would probably not necessarily put in for those signs if next week the select board says, oh yeah, go ahead and get 5 signs made, we'll find the money to cover that. So that's so I would either put in for $3,000 or 3,600. And I think that is due very end of December.
better to shoot high.
Yeah, hey,
Come
Mike.
down.
Well, if there's any money left over, it just goes into the general fund
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, it just goes back. If it's unspent, it's not wasted. So if that sounds good, that's how I'll proceed with the budget.
Sounds like a plan.
This is a yearly budget, you guys do want a year?
Yeah, and the schedule, if I remember right, is that the requests have to be in to basically December 31st or near to that, and then it's reviewed, finance committee. So, we're not asking for anything controversial here. New trucks,
What's the range of?
Sky's the limit.
Really?
No.
You can ask.
You can.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, you know,
Look like it'll help the town somehow improve
yeah,
community.
yeah, I mean, you know, I don't think we're asking for anything here that isn't. That isn't for the town's benefit. I know there is sort of a threshold at around $5,000 for a single project. Where I think your budget request has to be in, maybe it's even in September,
Okay.
you know what I mean? And that's, you know, it might even be a higher threshold, and that's for like if they're buying a fire truck or, more bigger equipment stuff. Some of that has to go out to bid, I think. So,
We're talking, it's almost like a catch-22, because they want that, that, garden program, with the seeds and the, mostly you gotta ask the farmers for all that stuff and vegetables and kind of, well, they want this, if we want this to go, we've gotta.
Yeah,
have
right.
This, it's almost, catch-22 for these people, so, I guess that was a pretty good program, so.
yeah, well, we'll see what happens. If not, we'll just put in for a little bit more for next time. So Tamsin is not here yet, although I think I just heard a door. I was gonna quickly review the APR here that we had, Olszewski's APR. It's all done. I sent the application in. The CPC, I think, gave it a first pass and said that it would be fine. So, and then yesterday I found out that Galanka's had an APR approved. And the deadline for the CPC application was noon today. So I got it done. I think it maybe is a little incomplete, but they're gonna review it tomorrow. And so, yeah, Galanka's is about 60 acres and about 40% of it's in Whately and 60% is in Hatfield.
Nice. So he's going through Hatfield too.
Yeah, Jim was surprised about how the local match was accomplished and stuff like that, so. So I kind of did a little research and figured out how he needed to proceed in Hatfield. But their application will be due till November 1st. So. And I'm not sure how Hatfield funds their APRs, the local match on their APRs.
They're not through CPC grants.
I assume they are, but I don't know that that's how they fund it. I would, it's a good way to do it. You end up using half state money.
Especially when it just got fully funded.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Whately got 100% match. I think the CPC's kind of got money to burn, doesn't it? 'Cause
They have a healthy. budget.
yeah, there was not a lot of demand on the last order cycle, I think. Are there a lot of applications stacking up?
I don't think that there's too many, just a small handful.
Yeah, I'm starting thinking of.
So what happens to the money that's currently not enough projects come forward, and let's say there's $30,000 left over, where does that money go? Is it going to? Does it?
I had the impression that it goes back into the pond.
Yeah, it
just
can't
keeps
go
it
into the
like
general
that.
fund. But I think it goes into sort of a CPC pot.
I mean, so there's a state share and our share. And it must go into some place where money's kept. I don't know what it's a bank or.
Yeah, I think it's a specific account for the.
Okay.
CPC.
Just wondering.
So I think that's how the, hall got a little bit more money to renovate that, because there was extra money left over from some other projects was in the pot.
Right, and they used it to pay down the debt at a pretty aggressive rate. What they would do when I was on the CPC was basically they'd fund all the projects that could be funded, and if there was $28,000 left over, they threw it at the balance on the town hall. And made short work of it, actually.
Is that paid off?
Yeah, well, for a while. Windows in the church in the center of town,
Yeah.
the Whately Woods hiking area. That was preserved with a pretty good chunk of CPC money. The silo, one of the silos at Quan Farm was rebuilt. Architecturally unique.
Cemetery.
Yes, yes. Right. The yellow barn there in the center of town, got some civil work done. Town keeps, equipment.
Nice. I have a question about APR.
Yeah.
Does the land have to already be in agriculture practices? Can it be land that has in the past been
Yes,
and not current?
anything that's being farmed generally go into an APR application, I believe.
But this is, what I'm thinking of is a spot down the road for me that it has had hay. Jimmy Baronis, I don't know if anybody knows who that is, but he hasn't done hay for a long time. He's just kind of,
It's open space and
Open
that's
space.
kind of their goal.
yeah,
Yeah, they're just trying to prevent it from being developed. I think you can preserve, I mean, I think there are golf courses that,
Well, that's under different,
I mean, it's not
Recreation.
APR.
it's, yeah, it's recreation.
6-1 A or something. Well, maybe not 6.
61 Q or something.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Um. Yeah, and I really think it's open space preservation. Hey,
Hi, sorry for being late.
not at all, that's perfect timing. We ripped through the agenda, now we're ready.
Okay, good. I'm here, I actually forgot to print it out, so I can't look at it, but I am
Oh.
here to take notes.
Do we have any extra copies? So this is, well, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I've met some of you, I'm Tamsin Planners, I'm a land use and natural resources planner at the planning agency for the county, it's located in Greenfield, called the FERCog, or we call it the FERCog. Franklin Regional Council of Governments, and there's a small team of us, working on a comprehensive plan for Whately. That's a document that, it's a forward-looking plan, tries to look 10, 20 years down the road at what are some of the changes that we would need to make as a community in order to enable the kinds of changes that we want to happen and sort of steer away from the changes we don't want to happen. And so not every comprehensive plan has an agricultural chapter, but this one needed one, because agriculture is very important to the community. And yeah, I've gone through this once with some of you and happy to go, to discuss whatever you saw in this latest draft.
So what is are you looking for details to be corrected or just?
Yep, correcting, factual checking, like, did we get the emphasis right, or is, should we de-emphasize things, better emphasize other things,
Okay.
and then really specifically, if you as a committee have recommendations for this kind of, for the town, to be considering on that bigger level, whether that's changes to zoning or ways that funding is allocated or, we list, this should have listed recommendations, right?
I think it did.
yeah, in fact,
Yeah. So yeah, like the more specificity on the recommendations, the more they're actually in line with the community's vision for agriculture into the future, the better, so.
so because of this, there could be action taken from we as a whole, or how is it like,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
sort of like, the way the field of planning sort of works is it's set up to sort of support long-term decision-making and the acquisition of grant funding or, budgeting, to make things happen. And so, as we know, most of, to get a lot of the capital changes and big projects done, it usually can't just come from the municipal budget, it has to come from some grant funding. And we pay taxes, we deserve to also be reaping the benefits of that. And so, right, so pretty much these plans are set up to help the town be, kind of both prepared for and qualify for more grants.
If something is listed as, you know, as being in the town's master plan or whatever. You know, it's like a feather in the cap as you go for, you know, grant funding. For example, you know. When I did the APR application for the Olszewskis and Galankas. You know, you reference, this is consistent with, you know, the town plan for ag preservation and, you know, you would reference, this has been supported consistently at town meeting as you make the case for the CPC funding for the local match. I mean, it's kind of laying, but documents like this get referenced. And it a lot, actually.
For the decision makers in the town, okay.
Yeah, and even, you know, people who are not in the town can look at this and get a snap, you know, an idea, a sense. So
Good to have a plan.
I would say that I thought this was very well done. Like Mahar echoed that. He's not here today. But should we, how do you wanna just like start with page 1 and
Yeah, I can, so I'm happy to go through everybody's comments, and I will also take drafts and incorporate them, so.
okay.
Just anything that feels like it needs discussion or explanation, if it's just like a correction in the. You know, like some kind of correction that I'll be able to figure out myself, we probably don't need to spend time on it, but if it,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, the only thing I had on page 1 was that I don't think there's any more shade in there, one thing.
I did too.
Okay.
And
Okay.
also alpacas. Don't think there's any alpacas unless I'm wrong. Yeah,
I wonder,
that is. How on,
yeah, okay, great.
They're not on Christian Lane?
No,
hasn't been for
they're gone, they're
Like
long time
5
ago.
I think that house
That's
changed
been-
places
no,
too.
well,
Yeah.
Changed owners.
Okay, okay.
that one of them and then the others, yeah, kept them longer, but then,
Yeah, when I called that farm, it was number
Oh.
invalid.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Do
And
you
also-
remember the ostriches running around town, Tim?
Yeah.
On, River Road.
By River Road,
Oh,
yeah.
my God. Oh, and also, I don't know, in that paragraph, it doesn't say anything about the one last dairy farm. There's one. The Felder Farm,
It's
on my
still-
street, yes,
Okay,
so,
On North Street,
yes,
yeah.
very proud. But,
Okay.
yeah, what else I wrote down? I think that's it. You have my copy, so.
I know, I'm sorry.
It's okay. We can-
And, you noted there's probably less than 50
I think
tobacco
that,
barns at this point.
right, is that on that page? I don't know. I couldn't tell you what the real fact is, but it feels like they took a lot down.
a lot that have fallen down. It's-
Hmm.
So I can just say a big dozens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
somewhere I saw, it almost looked like a brand new tobacco barn, but maybe it was completely
Yeah.
sided Black Birch Vineyard. It looked like a brand new barn.
Resided.
Stunning. And maybe it was just new skins, but it's being used as a tobacco barn. They put the hinges up.
Are they, they're in Whately, not Hatfield?
Yeah, they're-
No, it's Hatfield.
Oh, it is,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
On 5 and 10.
Oh, and Black Birch in
Oh,
Hatfield,
okay.
not. But that's the only new tobacco barn there.
Swift's did too on Westbrook Road, they did a barn over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
They like using that old plank wood for
looks nice.
fancy. Decorative, woodworking. The way it's like stained and stuff, so. I think somebody said you can get your barn resited for free, just wanna take it, get the old stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Be
That's
be
a-
very cautious. I
that's a-
I
that's
did
a
I did
cautious
that.
thing.
Yeah, they don't
People
use great.
And then I ended up siding a barn.
It's because some of the siding got taken off, but wasn't replaced.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they don't come back and do it, they just want the side of it split and run.
Yeah.
Leave it bare.
Yeah, we got,
It happened to my neighbors up the street.
Wow,
yeah, we got.
seems like an
saved.
epidemic.
Yeah, it was, then somebody. It was a few years ago, right? Well,
Yeah.
was it pre-COVID or was it?
5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, there was, we ended up, and what they do is they bring you, they come with wood.
Right.
And dump the load to re-side the barn, and it's about a third of what you need. And they, and that was it. We got paid, but still, we had to put siding on 2 barns. Surprise.
Do we wanna go to page 2?
Yeah.
I love the story.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you.
What you got?
So, and down in the economic significance,
Yeah.
we've employed about 26 residents year round.
Yeah,
That's, that's a low number.
okay,
Yeah.
Because Nurse Farms probably employs 50.
okay. So would like 75 be closer to the
I mean, we have 15,
year round?
yeah, or 13.
Yeah.
Fairview.
Manheim,
Are these residents or are
Yes.
these are just in?
Oh, that is true. The only statistic I could get was residents of Whately.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
With that. Like,
yeah,
it does say around 26 residents year round.
Okay.
But let me just add,
300 people overall.
yeah,
Right, that's interesting.
but
Yeah,
that's, so that's based on. You'll see that the footnote is to the American Communities Survey, that's, one of the census programs. You know, they get the census every decade where they get like a high percentage of people, and then every year they go and interview a smaller percentage of people, and then they average those answers over 5 years, so it's a 5-year look back. So, and because our towns are so small, you sort of have to take all those statistics with a grain of salt. So if you have a better number for that, you're the better resource.
so at the end of that paragraph, it says that out of a total of approximately 880. What does that mean?
Yeah, hold on.
In the first paragraph,
So it seems like 300 people in summer is a low number, right? And then, so that's the middle sentence, and then this accounted for. So there's 880 jobs in Whately total, and so summer farm employment was 34% of total jobs.
okay,
So I can reword that.
Compost facility is moved to Deerfield.
oh, okay.
Is that on issue?
Third paragraph, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. In that same paragraph, I don't believe there's any more Chandra berries.
that's true. They had, Chang Farms had, down the river road.
Oh, we were just talking about them, weren't we?
Right. It's like,
There, I call them.
Doug did away with the last of the sun or something.
I'm like the guy in the Dr. Seuss, the one slur of losing.
They did it in for jam,
Truffle.
it'd be a tart jam.
They are all done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Never even seen that before.
It came from China,
I
Arthur Chang brought them over.
I once stopped at that Whately. Have you, any of you seen the Whately Oaks campsite? It's
Yes.
on the Connecticut, but there's not really like, you can't access it from River Road.
Right.
But I bushwhacked up the hill and I came out, I think, in the Shazander berries back when I was
Yep.
there.
Yep. Yeah, we took out, that's here's an obscure agricultural trivia question. All right, the answer is me and Hugh Manheim. You know what the question is? Who took out the largest Chandra berry field in the Western Hemisphere? Anyway, they wanted it gone, we cleared it and traded it for land rent, so
Okay,
about 30 acres of Chandra.
and we had a gentleman here at the last meeting who had bought the compost operation.
Mike, yeah, he's not here tonight.
Yeah, and so the operation moved, but his farm is still on.
Yeah,
Um,
he's raising beef,
in West Whately.
yeah. right.
Okay,
Where in Deerfield did you?
At Melnick's.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You guys see that?
Page
so
3, I didn't have anything.
Well, hold on, just back to the, estimated year-round people. I heard somebody say maybe 300.
I mean, Chang has a lot of people, Manheim has a lot of people year round. I would guess 15 to 20 each, we're at 13, I think, so that's in the 40s.
I got 3.
Okay, I mean,
And you said Norse was how many year-round?
Year round. Probably 75.
Harvest, I don't think they, I mean, I don't think they have anyone in the all year round, but I mean, I think, were these year round jobs?
So, yeah, I was just trying to get a year-round number and then, but. So I'll say like 100 to 150 estimated. And then for summer, what do you all think?
Be surprised if it doesn't double these.
Yeah, it goes up quite a bit. I think Kitchen Garden's probably got 15 or 20, and
They got an army.
what would they count if they're?
I mean, it's harvest farmers.
But
Yeah, well, that's land in
most of the
Whately.
lands in Whately.
I mean, harvest, they're, Charlie Tananis, he's gotta have 25 people on easy in the summer.
So maybe that 300 number that was in there already is pretty good.
But that's, yeah.
All right, page 3.
I didn't have.
Oh,
anything.
one more thing on 2. It's just, on, under economic significance, second paragraph. Second sentence, a community food assessment, I'd say report. It doesn't,
Yeah,
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Assessment.
okay. So you have underlined the sentence, that's the, third paragraph under farmland. As of 2025, Whately had not gone through the process of identifying farmland of local importance. So I learned more about this since I last met with you all. I think it's APR and the ASAP program, does that ring a bell? There's a federal land conservation program through NRCS, I think, it has like a weirdly long acronym, like ALS ASAP or something like that.
Okay.
They will both accept farmland that isn't listed as having prime soils or soils of statewide importance if it has been designated as farmland of local importance by, I think the determining agency is the Conservation Commission who actually does that. And that's a process of maybe about a third to a half of the towns around here have gone through. And the group doing it is the American Farmland Trust. I think they just lost most of their money doing it, but they might have just, gotten. There's a new state, farmland protection plan that has grant money coming with it that is, this is the first year of the grant, and I know that American Farmland Trust put in a big application, and one of the projects they wanted to go for was to finish that mapping of farmland of local importance, so.
So that might be coming.
It might be coming.
They
Yeah.
just do that at will, it sounds like, or does the town
I
have to
think the
ask?
town has, well, I don't know how they've selected who they've worked with at all, actually, but it would not, I don't think that it would hurt to reach out.
Yeah.
And I think it's a relatively quick process, as far as I can tell.
So that would probably, as you said, something that would come from Concom.
I
Okay.
think they probably designated them because not every town has an ag column.
Right.
Yeah. But I would imagine you would be involved in the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I did not mark up page 3. Going once. I got nothing on page 4 either.
Me either.
Anyone?
Right, how about 5?
All right. I got, let's see, down, under public attitudes toward food.
Yeah,
Um,
not the same thing.
the perception among farmers increasingly is that the public is valuing local food less and less. On top of this, organic no longer has the profit margin it once had. I might say something about like the demand for organic products is not growing as it once did.
Okay, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But in that context, is basically that the understanding of our urban neighbors don't really understand what's really involved. They can look out in the windows and see driving by, they don't have a clue really as to what's all involved.
Yeah. It's almost like the sentence would be something like, people understand farming operations and farming, economics less and less. And farmers,
They have an appreciation for the open vista
right,
and what's growing there, but when it comes down to them having a clue as to that's really changed, right?
People don't know what they're looking at. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that in general.
I mean, and sort of what this paragraph is getting at is like, that's leading to, in some ways, less support, both at the market and maybe in some ways.
I don't think in Whately, I think that the focus is on preservation of
Yeah.
farmland and appreciation of the open spaces. But those that have that appreciation have less and less understanding of what goes on.
I also think to that regard too, with the open, the open vistas too, like, this talks a lot about climate change and the changing, way that farming is done. A lot of the farms are moving indoors now or moving into covered spaces, which is gonna change that open vista. And I don't know that there's a lot of education or people that understand
Yeah.
what that change is gonna look like and how the views are gonna change a little bit.
That's done a lot of that because of climate change.
Sure, yeah.
You
The
gotta
reason
work
and like the value of why that is, I guess.
Right,
Mhm,
Right, I mean, you look at the berry production down at Norris Farm,
mhm.
and it doesn't look like berry production did 15 years ago, or 10 years ago. It agriculture does look different. I mean,
It's changing.
it always will be changing. I mean, 30 years ago, there was a pickle shop that bought 1,000 acres of crops. There were roadkill cucumbers everywhere.
Well, none of us have ever woken up a day in farming and didn't think that we're gonna have some change someplace.
Right.
It's a matter of, that's what's gonna happen.
great, I'll fit that in.
In many ways, farmers who do their activities and livelihood, they're way ahead of the game with a lot of this stuff. Climate change and what have you, they have to deal with it.
Right,
And,
it's so immediate.
and other people like, what's going on, like, it's. Yeah, it's a real world for a lot of people.
Right, it is an, you're not gonna just change a thermostat
No.
and be comfortable. It's where it directly impacts.
But I do think like with the APRs, for example, like if people want these APRs to preserve the open land, but then what happens when the farmer wants to go and throw up a big greenhouse operation in there, I mean, some APRs restrict that, I think.
That's right.
Yep.
Yes.
I think a lot of
The
the
APR
APRs.
thing is not all that farmer friendly.
Right,
Yes.
right.
I thought it was just like, residential buildings, so it's also.
Yeah, they make.
Oh, yeah. And like agritourism, you can't do with APR, and I think like greenhouses have to be soil grown.
Yeah, there's a
Right.
place out in Spencer that wanted to put up a winery, but they wouldn't let them put up the building
Right,
to,
the process,
to upscale the crop that they were making.
right.
So it's
Business.
kind of.
You know, and that's the thing, like an APR agreement might get written in 2005. 25 years later, this agreement has not evolved, but the farm has, you know? And so that's a tough pair of handcuffs to wear forever. You know, I know we're, you know, the property Bowers, the property we have here on Christian, or on Long Plain Road. You know, we built that greenhouse out to the last square foot that we could within the APR requirements. And I think I kind of remember, if you rolled your plastic up to the peak, bound it to the ridge pole, and took a picture, I think it maybe you could justify it being open space, not counting.
Right, yeah, because it could be on hold
Yeah,
and let the rain in.
yeah, and at least, you know, because some people used to do that seasonally,
Sure.
tunnels and stuff.
It's hard to do with the plastic, with glass.
Yeah, no, I know, right, you're not gonna roll up,
Right.
polycarbonate panels or anything, but,
It's just, well, it's all those quirky type of
yeah,
things.
how do you?
Creative work
Make
around.
a rule for the gray area, you know?
Well, it's really dumb because. I don't know, people in charge of APR or whatever, I mean, you look at Europe, the Dutch or whatever. I mean, look at millions, zillions of greenhouses, and they produce a significant amount of their food in them, and in many cases, they're also recycling heat from power plants or various things, you know, district heating, and
Mhm.
it's a lot different deal,
Canada too has a lot.
yeah.
It's just,
Hopefully the APR program will adjust. I worked,
I don't think they will.
I worked for the Hilltown Land Trust and was exposed to a lot of conversations around, okay, like, how do we write restrictions that aren't, that like can predict the future? It's pretty impossible. Or how do we write new law that allows restrictions to change if necessary? If anyone has ever met Tyler Sage, who grows pork up in Bernardston, the place he bought, I remember they took a while to figure out, or maybe it was the first place he looked at, I can't remember, but somehow it was like, it was prohibited in the CR that he could forest graze his pigs. And nobody wanted that, so it took them a while to figure out how to make it work.
So like in 1985, when we had that APR up on Long Plain Road, we had, was a designated house lot on that 60 acres. But the rules since then have changed, so there's no more house lot there, even though it's designated in the contract. As an example.
Yeah, that's right, you kind of got robbed of that house lot.
Well, it's all.
Yeah.
Not complaining because it worked out pretty well.
Right. But true.
Example.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Page,
anything else on, so
page 6.
yeah, anything on page 6?
Yeah, under climate change,
Yeah,
I would. Yeah, I made a note that. Actually, with climate change, it's extended our growing season here in Whately by. At least 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You say, John? Jen, yeah.
yeah, 'cause my father said they used to plant set, well, it's different because we had our earlier spring, because they used to plant set onions like middle of March, but you could get a frost first of September. So it's changed that.
In other words, it used to be,
Now
the
you don't.
80s, you had to have your butternut squash out by the 18th of September or it'd be frosted. But now it's what, October 10th?
No,
Easily.
some do.
Yeah, I mean, even, I was talking to Jekanowski's and, you know, I said, remember when you had to have your potatoes dug by November 1st?
Right, oh, that's,
No, squash,
That's- so that's-
one year it was, I think 3, 4 years ago, it was November before we even had a frost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was a warm, just,
But there's been an extension there, but it isn't so much on the front side.
right,
March is March, and probably always will be,
that's true.
but the fall is extended.
I have read that, you know, there are some orchards that are very old and they have very good written records of what, you know, every day back going 100 years. And you can watch the bloom for an orchard drift earlier and earlier and earlier. I think the Macintosh bloom
Yeah, that
drifted
happens
about 8
because-
days, I think.
Because of that mild weather we get in February, which is a hatchet over their head because
Right.
it's gonna zip them, you know.
Right, they don't go dormant enough, they wake up too early, too
They
easily.
wake up too early and then they get hit with that frost.
Right.
Yeah.
that's hurt the peaches.
Yeah.
So that's a positive. Are there other positives we should mention?
Another comment is on that farmland protection. It says in there that the average age is around 60 years old.
Yeah,
But, you know, that's a kind of misleading statement because it's the people that own the land get old, but not necessarily the people that farm
right.
it. I mean, just think of Olenek farmed that land and they owned that land until Gary Jim bought it.
Right,
And so yeah, so it's misleading.
right, if Olenek is still being counted in the average. And Harvest Farm is farming his land,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, or if you've got, farmer senior who's spending 15 hours a week on the farm, but farmer junior is the one
But
really.
he owns the land.
Right.
So that's where it's reported from.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
that's
I mean,
interesting.
it would be interesting to know how the data was collected. You know, who,
Yeah, let me say.
That's always been
that.
that's a statistic that's.
It's been around forever.
It's been
Yeah.
around forever. You hear it in other states if you go to those.
I mean, you don't say 108, that won't work.
no,
One little comment, a little typo sort of thing,
Yeah.
the same paragraph right near the bottom, local and regional food systems
Yeah.
today.
Great.
in the first paragraph on this page. After the second complete sentence, farmers often experience the market systems and regulations as too big and bureaucratic to work with. I might
I don't
add.
remember writing that.
Okay. I had this thought, which was, I think as, in my experience, mostly with supermarket chains. As there is great market consolidation. My concern about farms in Whately is that the scale of the farms in Whately will not be big enough to sort of. Work with
Yeah.
those large corporate entities, and increasingly, I hear about the expectation of year-round supply. And I've heard of what are called 14-month contracts, where you're supplying, say you supply Ahold, which is, an entity that owns 2,500 supermarkets on the East Coast. They'll want a transitional month to you supplying them with an item as they transition from another supplier, and then 12 months of supply, and then another month of transition to it. So it's a 14-month contract for some things.
Really interesting.
Yeah, and it's part of increasingly the automation of POs being generated. Walmart, there aren't produce buyers who work at Walmart. It's people who observe trends. An algorithm is ordering product. And that's gonna be increasingly, I think that's coming increasingly as, the supermarket chains become not 75 store chains, but 3,000 stores. you know, they want promotional branding across, you know, all their markets. And, you know, and I'm not saying that, like, you know, obviously sweet corn sells big in the Northeast for a few months, and that dovetails with our ability to grow it here.
And for them to get fresh crop
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, exactly. And,
Local crop.
you know, but things like peeled butternut squash,
Where will they, who is big enough to compete with you? Like, are they,
I think.
where would it start being sourced
Well,
from?
it would be more like companies like Procacci in Philadelphia, or, you know, that act as like a clearinghouse
Uh-huh.
for product from all over the
I
country.
see,
So they would try to get a bid for, you know, what they might call the wet end. And, you know, all the stuff under mist in the supermarket. And then they would go find people to supply them to supply.
and so you might have to, instead of supplying directly to these supermarkets, having contracts with the supermarkets, you might have to go to a consolidator, who then is gonna pay you less.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, but provide a service and maybe make things available that weren't, but it's just, I see a change, you know, on
Yeah.
the horizon.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it's similar, is it similar to what happened in dairy in some ways? I don't really know what happened with dairy, except for that my uncle had a farm in my hometown in Vermont for 15 or probably 20 years. And then moved it to Idaho, and then moved it to Wisconsin after 10 years of being in Idaho, just sort of like finding a place where he could compete.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's in the milk marketing areas of all those different places.
Yeah,
And they all have a different formula for class 1 and class 3. And so it's all the pricing is different.
yeah.
Hmm.
And it just always seemed like, yeah, he couldn't, like the farms were getting so big, he couldn't compete.
So in Wisconsin, where they have so much processing going on with the cheese industry and so forth, we could find a buyer who stabilizes the economic situation. Yeah. One other comment on the bottom of page 6 is that Church Farms wasn't bought by an international company, it was bought by an investment company.
Oh,
I had a little asterisk that maybe, that you might, if you weren't gonna be here tonight, I just wanted you to review this specific mention of Norse Farm, and I'm glad you're here to be able to.
At the top of the page. Do we think there should be some mention of H2A labor at all?
with,
Well, it says the labor
Labor
supply,
supply.
cost of labor
Yeah.
has been stable. I mean, the fact is that there are a lot of Jamaicans, mainly the H2A people that work at various farms around here.
Yeah, probably would be smart to just at least mention it exists. You might even be able to find some stats on how many people in the H2A program do work in town.
I mean, I'm sure out of the office down there, was it an infield where that gal works out of, she would have the exact numbers of Jamaicans in town.
Okay.
Sanderson's, we have a camp.
Yeah.
Who else has a camp?
Anderson.
Sanderson and. But there's probably 30 H2A workers, as a guess.
yeah. Okay, great to mention them.
Probably more than that, because I think Sanderson. Camps for different people. But it's at the camp is in Whately. In other words, other farmers use his camp to house their
Yeah.
H2A laborers.
Is housing for farm workers an issue for you and your neighbors?
But
Housing for farm workers?
In the H2A program or not?
Either one.
Housing is definitely an issue.
it has to meet so many standards. There's houses, apartments in Holyoke that don't have the standards of H2A housing.
Yeah,
Square foot of windows per
Yeah.
square foot of floor space and. A lot of. There isn't an inspection without something being wrong.
Right, and it's very expensive. I mean, it's expensive in Massachusetts to maintain any housing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And H2A housing is no exception.
Yeah, I've lost a number of employees because they just couldn't find reliable housing in the area.
Yeah.
And they just gave up and left.
Yeah.
They weren't H2A, but.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah, I would
pretty
say,
common everywhere in Massachusetts.
I would say the sort of Central American workforce kind of moved from Turner's to Springfield. Largely just because Turner's got too expensive.
Yeah,
It is.
Also in one of the apartments, they were mostly living in a car town. It was, I think the landlord was getting harder and harder.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
It's just everything's so expensive and then you have extra space. I feel like it's the first thing you wanna do is Airbnb it, or there's like a lot of, I've been told a lot of Airbnbs around here, but they're always booked up for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Which could also, be rental places.
Yeah,
But they probably wouldn't meet the standards for the H2A
Really?
inspection. Yeah.
No, not for H2A, no chance.
yeah. Well, I have coworkers at the FERCog that are working very hard on the housing issue, making a big stink with the state because just some policies and the funding is like not favorable to us. Yeah.
Mhm.
The
Um,
governor
so-
spent $1 billion to, house all these other people,
I
right?
know, yeah,
Last year, so.
yeah. Tim, the last sentence, there can be drawbacks with corporate ownership.
I don't know. I don't know of any corporate.
Is-
I mean, First Farm's a corporation to begin with.
Right, but your family's still the owner?
We own the land.
Yeah.
But we don't own the business.
Gotcha.
That a unanimous decision with your family, or was that a hard decision to,
The way it was.
yeah?
85 years old, what the hell are you gonna do?
That's a very good question. I think
Why
a
you
lot of
laughing,
farmers-
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
No,
It's time to retire, there is time to retire at some point, right?
So I did at 85. But it was an economic decision because of the expansion of the new crops that we could grow. And the capitalization that we need to
Yeah,
do it.
Yeah.
And so
It wasn't gonna happen, it wasn't gonna be funded locally.
Farm Credit would not have given me $70 million to expand the operation to what it was.
my dairy farming uncle says, I think he's about 80, he says, I think I finally learned to fly the plane, but I have no idea how to land.
That's probably true.
I like that, that's a good line.
All right, let's talk about the recommendation.
You know, I've been to a few of those, other ag commit, there used to be a ag commissions thing here in regionally.
Yeah.
But nobody, in my view, was like our ag commission here in Whately, because we're a farming community.
Yeah.
Even Montague, with all their, it's just kind of, non-focused, I don't know, I'm not good, but it's just. The other ag commissions don't have the scope of you went to Lexington or wherever you might think of, maybe in Worcester County.
Yeah.
Western Worcester County, but Yeah, it's just really unique with people that we had on our commission.
Yeah,
No, we've been very active, done a lot of different things, and now we're doing signs, probably should have been done. Some towns, our ag commissions did that, and then that was it, you know?
Yeah, no, it's the consistency and from how long ag commission been going, but yeah. But it wasn't like I went to the meeting, but there was nothing relative to
yeah.
what I could take home. you know?
Have you ever interacted with an ag commission in Deerfield or Hatfield or Whately? I mean, that's not what I'm gonna say, Hadley, Deerfield, Hadley. Hatfield,
But that they'd be more synonymous to.
yeah,
Deerfield Deerfield and Sunderland have a list of names, but there is no functioning AgCom. And Hatfield is active. In fact, I'm kind of working, I've put a feeler out to them just because I'm curious about how the Galunga APR is gonna land, how that plane's gonna land, if they're in two towns.
yeah, right.
And how do we fund the local match?
Yeah.
So I think Hatfield is pretty active. And Hadley, I believe, does not.
So, this probably is outside the scope of these recommendations, but Pete Westover, lives in here. Has a contract with MDR to work his consulting firm, and he's working with somebody else, they're revitalizing ag comms across the state. And he's, coming up with some like, information tools and stuff for more use, and I hear they're even talking about reviving that statewide, what would you call it?
The Commission of Ag Commissions.
Exactly. And so maybe it's a suggestion here, or maybe I just tell him that I don't think he has anything, from what I've heard, he doesn't have anything planned in Franklin County yet, but maybe it would, instead of Franklin County, it would be beneficial to gather just those 5 kind of comparable towns together to see if there's some, for like a roundtable discussion.
I know there, it did get mentioned when the farm to school folks were here about trying to inspire an AgCom to exist in the 4 school district towns, Conway,
Oh, yeah,
Sunderland, Deerfield, and us. But, that was like sitting on the tailgate of a truck and say that, and then does it ever happen?
right.
And there used to be a Massachusetts, a state flag, is that what that,
Yeah. It was the Massachusetts State Commission of Agricultural Commissions, I think.
Wasn't there a yearly meeting? I remember Johnny did one.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you look at their website, it seems like it hasn't been updated since 2014.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Does that sound right?
I think that's right. If are we still on 7?
Page 7, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I just did, what I had was, on the last, basically the last bullet point under improve the financial viability. I thought it might be explore all municipal tools to support the viability of farm businesses, help them weather the stresses of climate change, and I had thought end market changes.
Yeah, I actually can't see where you are, but
Oh,
I like that idea.
okay, right.
Yep, gotcha. I mean, and from what what I took away from the first meeting was changes in regulations too.
Yeah,
That seems like the big
yeah, I kind of
unpredictable piece.
I added that.
Well, if you're gonna put a permit in to withdraw water out of the Connecticut River, better set aside about $35,000 in order to do it, even though water runs by your farm.
Right,
It's through 12 different entities.
That's interesting. Yeah. We just,
And what's big is the Indian artifacts and, and the endangered insects, the flies, anyway,
dragonflies.
dragonflies,
Uh-huh. Damselflies.
yeah. So-
How many farms are withdrawing from, have permits to withdraw from the Connecticut River?
Just one.
Oh, yeah, you're the only one?
I don't know. I don't know of anyone else who's ever, we've never pulled a permit.
They probably
Well,
do, but they
Chestnut
don't
used
got the
to go
permit.
When he farms.
Oh, I'm sure he did. I can't imagine he pulled a permit though.
Oh, that's true. That's,
I didn't realize you needed a permit. It's interesting. What do you, is it like a yearly
you
thing?
have to renew your water usage for the year and send $100 or $200 a spot for the privilege of doing it.
See,
So it's not 35,000,
It's
No,
35
that's
bucks.
just to get started.
Yeah, and then,
Oh,
And then you gotta put in your engineering
oh,
to
okay,
the site.
I got you.
It's just to get through the 12 levels, and you hire a guy who, that's it, that's what he does. There's a guy over in Leverett who does that.
yeah, it kind of speaks to sort of the scale that, somebody's wanna pump, has 3 or 4 acres in the Connecticut River and they wanna pump out of it legitimately. They can.
Yeah, you could never.
It would be preventative.
Yeah,
Um. And that's, kind of, I think speaks to like the scale, a little bit mismatched.
That's the same, what you're talking about with the marketing, it's just you got all those cubicles and natural resources, and they're all in there trying to think up this stuff and they're 5 to 6 stories high, and thinking up all this stuff to good ideas.
Gotta conserve some water for their coffee too, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would drink their coffee water out of the Connecticut River, no. That's how
They're
ridiculous.
drinking it out there.
But you can swim in it, and all that, right? But, yeah,
And that is, it's one thing I actually noted on the back is that a somewhat new issue is water quality and food safety concerns.
yeah,
It sort of, I think, further complicates which fields can be irrigated. And the expense of irrigating, depending on the food safety standards that you need to meet. That's not a problem, that's just or not an issue that only affects Whately, but
and is that FSMA or more than?
there was, now I've of course sort of lost track of my acronyms, but there was a group of growers in California who got together. These are 5,000 acre farms, and came up with a more restrictive standard than FSMA for leafy greens.
Right,
because-
this is the story you told last
Yes,
time,
the
yeah,
leafy greens.
Yeah.
And so this standard would require the use of a sanitizer in irrigation water
yeah.
almost all the time.
And, so I'm friends with the farmers at Stone Soup, which is a smaller operation in Hadley, and, I remember when they realized that they had basically irrigated Phytophthora all
Yeah.
over their squash because they irrigated from the river.
Yeah.
Are you seeing more of that? Like there's more disease in your irrigation water?
that would be hard for me to say that this, that the water has photographer in, from our experience.
Okay,
I've heard the North Hadley Pond,
Well, that's different.
that's very different, right? That a lot of phytophthora are pumped out of the North Hadley Pond and into fields that didn't have
It's
it.
like that pond in North Hatfield, behind Belden's. We would pump out of there
Oh,
for
yeah.
a Belden farm down the road would be on one side of that. It's a little slimy,
Sure.
but wet.
Yeah. So anyway, if that, they're talking about. I think they changed the deadline for FISMA to 28, maybe, didn't they put it off for 30 months or something? But the market's expected, the insurance companies that, they're expecting it, so it's happening, whether it's gonna be enforced or regulated by the government or not. It's here, and it's gonna be, if the government is not gonna have a supportive program and the third-party certifications for food safety are gonna be purely driven by 5,000 acre growers in California, then, it's gonna be hard to exist as a 40 acre, 60, 70 acre.
And it seemed like the regulation was pretty low, the threshold to be required to meet all those was pretty low. It doesn't take that much to bump into that, whatever the amount is that you
Yeah.
need to earn
Right,
to have to be managed under that.
Yeah, the threshold for those things kicking in.
Right, it almost makes you not wanna hit that
Yeah.
threshold, still just underneath it. Right, it's a lot.
I actually have to go. Is there anything else?
We're kind of ready to adjourn, really.
Minor typos on.
You can certainly reach out to me if you have any questions, of anyone's comments, and
Great.
we can continue the conversation, but I thought it was
Any other
great,
copies?
it was well done.
Yeah, I thought it was very well written.
Good, thank you. I appreciate hearing that. Thank you. And I really hope I incorporated your feedback from last time well. Okay.
Cool,
you.
thanks
Nice
for
to
coming.
meet you all. For. Wish you all the best.
All right, see you.
Good luck with that.
So, does anybody have anything else?
Just wanted to say, I did talk to, Brian Belder, the young Brian Belder, about maybe joining, I don't know how much you have a top limit of.
It's a 7-person committee,
Oh, okay,
and we're full right now.
he was very hesitant.
Okay.
But I was kind of like, I think, or when we talked, remember, I thought you had said to mention it to somebody else too, but.
I think it would be great if he came to a
I-
meeting.
Yeah, what he shared with me was that he's looking into taking over his father's farm eventually and hopefully maybe someday getting robots and kind of
Mhm.
exploring that direction of dairy. So that's when I was like, hey, well, you should think about this. So
Yeah.
I just want to tell you that.
Cool.
How many head are they milking over there?
I assume it's kind of around. I should ask. I've been in there
Mark
a
just
while.
told me the other day, I can't remember, I think it's more than that.
Probably,
No, it's not, it's not 7.
they have a lot of heifers now. Yeah, maybe. They got a new milk room, so.
Yeah, it looks good over there.
Yeah, they're gonna throw up a hoop house this year too. So he said to get the heifers undercover, but anyway, just wanted to tell you.
Cool, well, I think it'd be great to have, these meetings sort of serve as a little bit of a local clearinghouse for agricultural thoughts, and happy to have them come. I was gonna share one more thought, actually, why don't we adjourn? I move we adjourn, it's 7:23.
To a meeting set for our next meeting?
Oh, yeah, it's a good,
13th, second Tuesday.
I think that's fine.
Is it January what?
13.
The second Tuesday. The first Tuesday is pretty early.
Little scrap of paper, I gave my paper and then okay. Yeah, that's good. Got it.
Okay, so I move we adjourn.
Yeah.
Second, all in favor, yeah, all right.